Being in the mob is a treacherous business. Let's look at some examples of mobsters photographed with the men that they kill. I'm James Gladwish and welcome to OC Shorts, bringing you detailed historical snapshots of the American Mafia and other organised crime. Feel free to subscribe if you like that sort of thing. First up is a photo that is probably the ultimate embodiment of mafia treachery. In this photo of Philadelphia crime family mobsters, we have, from left to right, Frank Narducci Sr., Salvi Testa, his father Philip Testa, and Nicky Scarfo. In 1981, Philadelphia family boss Philip Testa was murdered by a bomb at his home. One of the men behind the murder was Frank Narducci. Nicky Scarfo then became boss, and in January 1982, Scarfo gave the order to have Narducci killed for his part in the assassination of Philip Testa. The man who then shot Frank Narducci to death was Philip Testa's son, Salvi Testa. And then, in 1984, the homicidal and paranoid Nicky Scarfo ordered the murder of Salvi Testa, as it is believed that Scarfo felt threatened by Salvi's popularity and potential to become boss himself. Salvi Testa was then shot by his good friend Salvatore Wayne Grande in September 1984. Next up is a photo that features some members of the infamous Gemini crew. On the far left is Anthony Center, and on the far right is Joseph Testa. Next to Testa, on his left, is Gambino crime family soldier Roy DeMeo. As is famously known, Roy DeMeo and his crew, that included Testa and Center, were a feared group of mobsters who murdered many individuals and often cut them up in an apartment above the crew's hangout, the Gemini Lounge. By the early 1980s, Roy DeMeo had become a liability for family boss Paul Castellano. DeMeo had performed several unsanctioned murders, as well as having legal issues involving a car theft ring that he headed, that could also cause problems for family boss Paul Castellano. In 1983, DeMeo was shot to death by members of his own crew, with many believing that the shooters were Joey Testa and Anthony Center. On a side note, Joey Testa's brother, a Lucchese family mobster called Patty Testa, seen in this photo next to Anthony Center, was also the victim of mafia treachery from within his own crime family, when he was murdered in 1992. Sticking with Roy DeMeo, here is a photo of DeMeo, his son Albert, and crew member Chris Rosenberg. Rosenberg had caused problems for the Gambino family when he committed the unsanctioned murders of men connected with a Cuban drug trafficking group. The Cubans found out who was responsible and put pressure on the Gambino family to have Rosenberg killed. And so, in 1979, Roy DeMeo and Anthony Center shot and killed Chris Rosenberg. And then, members of the Gemini crew dumped Rosenberg's body publicly in a car that they then shot up with a machine gun. This ensured that the killing made the newspapers and that the Cubans would be satisfied. In the next photo, we have Genovese crime family mobster Thomas Tommy Ryan Eboli, his brother Pasquale Patsy Ryan Eboli, and Vincent Gigante. In the late 1950s, Vincent Gigante served as a soldier in the Greenwich Village crew under Tommy Ryan Eboli, and then later in the 1960s under Eboli's brother Patsy. In 1972, high-ranking Genovese family mobster Tommy Ryan was assassinated due to an internal power struggle in that crime family. And then, 4 years later, in 1976, Tommy Ryan's brother Patsy Ryan disappeared and was never seen again, his car being found abandoned at Kennedy Airport. It is believed that Vincent Gigante was part of a group that approved the hit on Patsy Ryan Eboli. In the next photo, we have a group of mobsters from the Gambino crime family. From left to right, we have Tommy Gambino, Tommy Bellotti, Joe Butch Correo, Joe Brewster Del Monaco, Paul Castellano, Frank D'Apolito, Frankie DeCicco, and then James Jimmy Brown Filer. In 1985, Frankie DeCicco was part of a group that planned the murder of family boss Paul Castellano. DeCicco would go on to become underboss of the family to new family boss John Gotti, who was one of DeCicco's co-conspirators in the hit on Castellano. In addition, in the hit on Paul Castellano, his underboss Tommy Bellotti, featured in this photo with Frankie DeCicco, was also murdered. Sticking with Paul Castellano's murder, in this photo we have Paul Castellano in the centre, and on the right hand side is Frankie DeCicco again, and on the left is powerful Gambino crime family associate Joe Watts. Interestingly, according to some sources, when Castellano was murdered, Joe Watts was in the area near Sparks Steakhouse as one of the backup shooters. In this police lineup photo, we have two heavyweight mobsters from the Chicago outfit. On the left is Anthony Joe Batters Accardo, and on the right is Sam Mooney Giancana. Anthony Accardo was boss of the Chicago outfit from around 1947, taking over from his friend Paul Ricca. Accardo would step down from the role himself in 1957. Accardo would join former boss Paul Ricca in semi-retirement, and Sam Giancana became the boss. However, many sources state that behind the scenes, Accardo and Ricca still pulled the strings for the outfit on important matters. However, this shouldn't detract from the fact that Sam Mooney Giancana was a powerful boss in his own right. In the mid-1960s, it is said that the fearsome Sam Giancana fell out of favour with his retired mob superiors Accardo and Ricca, and while in the middle of legal issues around a grand jury summoning, Giancana fled to Mexico and was replaced as boss of the Chicago outfit. After returning to the United States in 1974, after being deported by the Mexican authorities, Sam Giancana was murdered by his mob colleagues in 1975, a hit that would have been ordered by Anthony Accardo. These are just a few examples of the treacherous nature of organised crime, where it is often your friends who kill you or have you killed. In the comments below, let me know your thoughts on the topic covered in this video. I hope you found that interesting. Thanks for watching.